Politicians in storms. Now they can turn politicos into heroes, or
this will most likely be one of the largest blizzards in the history of New York City. I'm asking everyone to understand that and to prepare accordingly. This is not going to be like other snowstorms. It is going to be, by all indications, worse, and people have to be ready.
Historic. That, of course, Mayor de Blasio on Sunday preparing the city for the blizzard that frankly wasn't. Now, the mayor, among other politicians, taking actually some heat today for what people are saying was an overreaction to the snowy forecast. The mayor, he knew the question was coming, and he's quick to respond today.
2010 was clearly in my thoughts because that was a case where the city was not prepared sufficiently and underestimated the danger and did not give people clear messages in time. To me, it was a no-brainer. We had to take precautions to keep people safe.
First of all, the sign language guy, he's going to be in an SNL skit. All right, that's a fact. But anyway, de Blasio, if you think about it, I think he's got plenty of reason here to err on the side of caution. Last January, the mayor, if you remember, he took a whole lot of grief for not getting portions of the city, especially the Upper East Side, plowed and plowed quickly enough. Remember the kids when they sent them to school and they had to get them back? And you can go back in the history time capsule and see other mayors who certainly wish they had a do-over when it comes to storms. How about the response here, not just from mayors, but governors? Take Mayor John Lindsay, widely blamed for poor response to a deadly storm in '69. 42 New Yorkers died, and now that infamous heckle from a woman in Queens who told Lindsay as he toured her neighborhood to get away, you bum. Never got over that one. Ed Koch, as Dominic remembers, also had big-time snow problems back in '78. Bloomberg, he was on vacation in Bermuda when a 2-foot storm hit in 2010. That's what Bill de Blasio was referencing there. And many complained that Manhattan got preferential plow treatment when it came to that storm. And it's not just a New York problem. Governor Christie, he was in Disney World. It is a small world. When the 2010 blizzard hit here, plus Lieutenant Governor Kim Guandano, stop it, Andrew, also MIA, vacationing in Mexico at the time. So it doesn't play political favorites by party or by state. Do you think, Dom, the criticism by some saying, look at all the hype, look at all the money you spent, you shut down an entire city, was any of the criticism of de Blasio warranted? And by the way, Cuomo today got some of the same questions.
Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, think about this. We're mad because we didn't get hit with a blizzard. Think about that for a second.
I'm with you.
Think about it. We're criticizing the mayor and the governor because there wasn't a blizzard. But I do want to update a possible blood feud that's going to break out now between Cuomo and de Blasio. The lead story out of New York City, de Blasio at that news conference you referenced, came forward and said, hey, I didn't know the subways were shutting down until 15 minutes before the governor announced it. Yeah. Now, with this governor, that's a declaration of war. So look out for the two.
But let me back up 1 second, because if we're going to be quick to praise governors and mayors when they're great in the storm response, Giuliani's always showing up at the right spot, and Christie's always got the hoodie on with his name on it. If they're going to get all the praise for it, they deserve a little bit of criticism when they overreact. First time the city's ever shut down the subways because of a snowstorm. By the way, the subways, you know, they go under the ground, right?
Right.
Okay, the snow's above the ground.
Right.
So, I mean, you could have run the subways.
Okay, but you need people to run the subways.
Right.
There's the danger and the legal risk of someone getting hurt going into. I mean, no offense, Andrew. I don't get it. What is wrong with us?
I'm just saying they should not be immune.
We elect them to be responsible. And that's exactly what they did. Now, yes, we know that elected officials, they love emergency situations because their poll numbers go sky high. You know, for me, it goes back to Giuliani. Whenever there was a crisis, mayor crisis, and he's got the jacket on, and the poll numbers go through the roof. But come on, guys, think about this. They were being responsible. And we're criticizing them for being responsible.
Andrew, I love the fact that you're fighting the fight on this one. God bless you for being a devil's advocate. But
love you too.
Yeah, but really, how do we? First of all, look, everybody's their brother, right? And I love our meteorologists. I know Snowmageddon. We're looking at it, right? But everybody thought this thing was going to be double, triple what it turned out, right?
Yeah.
So, what's he going to do? being like, I think it's hype. And then all of a sudden, the city snowed in.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, it is. It is.
And the cars are stranded. Yeah.
You're asking the city that never sleeps to go to bed. I mean, that's a very anti-New
He
York.
saved that line all
That's
day.
a
That
very
was pretty good.
anti-New York sort of approach to
I
everything.
will say one thing that I think is going to be going forward, whether they get heat for this or not. Think about the one big difference, even in the storm of today versus previous ones. And remember when down in like Virginia and in some of the southern states, they got hit with that big ice storm, and you had cars stranded everywhere. They're putting curfews in. Whenever they see a storm coming, going forward, and I do the same thing, and both of you would too, even you, right? You put a curfew in place here because then you don't have to clear all the abandoned cars on the road. The guys can plow the stuff so the next day things can move around. I think that's going to be the new rule going forward, even if they want to admit
Richard,
it.
think about this for a second. Suffolk, right, hit hard, 2 feet of snow. Imagine that happening last night in New York City, to your point, and cars are stuck in the middle of the street. It's happened before, and emergency vehicles can't get through. That would have declared de Blasio a one-term mayor.
And then imagine
that's a fair point.
an ambulance, Andrew, or a fire truck can't get to where they're going because some ding-dong leaves his car
Those are all-
on 43rd Street.
Fair points, but if we start, and here's my only real concern, if we start lowering the threshold by which you're starting curfews, where you're keeping people at home, not letting them on the roads, at some point it's going to get not abusive, but contrary to the spirit of who we are. Like you can't really clear the streets. It's New York City.
So because New York City has an image of tough and stay up all night, that means we're Superman. We can do anything.
No.
Is that
But if we start
Have you
getting
ever
like
seen him with his cape?
if we start getting curfews for like 4 inches of snow, that's
but no mayor in their right mind is going to declare curfew.
well. So
for
what's the
4 inches
over
of
under?
snow.
At what point do you put a curfew? At
Over
what point do you
under,
ban
I'd say
roads?
a foot, over a
A
foot.
foot?
Over a
Anything
foot of
over a
snow.
foot?
Or
We've
not
done
anything.
A foot before.
A foot and a half. A foot and a half.
We've done a foot before.
Look at the heat Bloomberg took in
Yeah.
2010.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The other thing is eventually people will get used to it. I lived in Louisiana and Texas when Katrina hit, and people had gotten so used to the whole brace yourselves, evacuate, so nobody did. And that's one of the reasons why Katrina was so bad. And then 3 weeks later, Rita was approaching the Gulf Coast, and they evacuated everywhere. And people were like, oh no, and everybody fled. And it missed most of what it was aiming for. So it was, there is a little bit of cry wolf that
You
could
really
come
can't.
here.
You really can't win in these things. You just gotta
That's true.
double down and be on the safe side, right? All right. Head over to Facebook and Twitter and sound off on our question tonight. Every one of you experienced this in one way, shape, or the other here when it came to the so-called blizzard. Did officials overreact, or if you were them, would you have taken the same precautions that they did? All right. We come back. We're going to turn to a big political story here unfolding. And now I'm talking, of course, about the man on your screen and the city that he's dominated for so long, Shelley Silver and Albany. Democrats, as we speak, digging in, and the question is, can they force this guy out following his arrest on federal corruption charges? Can and will they replace Shelley Silver? We'll have that conversation right after this.